Hi. Our topic for this page is adhering to dry principle with Django templates. To give away this page, we would cordially invite Indika Rajapaksha, who is the tech lead at Lalco Holdings Pvt Ltd in Singapore and Laos. He's an independent developer with over 15 years of experience in software engineering. His core expertise lies in Python, Django, and Django REST framework. Django provides a powerful template system encouraging the dry principle similar to its core modules. Let's hear further details about this from Indika Rajapaksha. You may send all the questions to us, and with the time we have, we will answer all possible by the end of the speech. Over to you, Ms. Indika.
Right, let me share my screen. Okay. Right. So this is all about how you write dry code in Django template language, right? So normally when we work with web frameworks, when you design in the front end, there is no way you can design it adhering to dry. But Django has a powerful templating system which encourage you to do that similar to its core modules, right? So we will first know what and why dry, then some design concept about Django templating and how we can adhere to dry at the designing time and when we do the coding in Django template. And finally, I will give some conclusion about why we should use dry principle in templating. And finally, you can ask me any questions you have while conducting the session, right? Okay, so what is dry? So as everyone knows, it is a simple term called don't repeat yourself. So this is a basic software development principle which aims to reduce the repetition of information within a system. It's not only about code, but anywhere or any time you try to write your code, I think you should follow this principle because it has a huge benefit. We will see what are the benefits in the next slide. So this principle actually stated as that every piece of knowledge must have single, unambiguous, authoritative and representation within a system, right? So it has been formulated by Andy Hunt and Dave Thomas in their book called The Pragmatic Programmer, which is a very remarkable book solely written for the programmers, by the programmers, right? So why we should use dry? First thing is it encourages us to reuse the code and reduce the code base size significantly, right? It's not only about Django or Python. If you have any large scale software project, you must, I think almost all time you should obey the dry principle and you will get remarkable benefits, right? And also it is not only about your code, but any other libraries or frameworks you may be depending on while you developing your project, right? And why we should do that? It's because you can apply known solution to a specific use case. Because when we try to adhere to dry, you are taking some design decisions and you have that knowledge which can apply to anywhere else which has similar problem, right? And also it helps us to easily maintain the code in long run. For an example, I think if you have worked for a large project for some time, sometimes you get errors and you fix it in one place, but still the error persists or the bug is there. That's because you may have to fix the same error in multiple places. But if you do it in dry way, you don't have this kind of problem because you only have to fix any bug at one place. And this means you have lesser and lesser bugs, and you can easily fix it because you know where to fix it at one place, right? And this is encouraged by the most libraries and frameworks out there, not only Django, maybe even in other JavaScript frameworks or any other web framework you have. No, not only web frameworks, but there are, I think, thousands and thousands of other frameworks. Most of them are following this rule, right? Now let's go to the templating part, right? I don't talk about the other core modules like models, views, and URL system, because those in those modules you can easily identify how you can do it in the dry way. But in templating, it is somewhat complicated or obscure. So I specifically thought of selecting this topic because with the when we apply the dry principle, it is not obvious in templating, right? So what is actual Django templating language? So simply, I can tell that it's a simple but yet powerful language to render elements in HTML using the Django framework, right? It is not limited to HTML. You can use many other things like XML and other text-based tag format as well, right? This template language is similar to Python statement, but there are some restrictions when you're executing the code, because it don't allow you to execute any programmable things like accessing the file system and other stuff, right? This is a design decision took by the Django developers, because it is working on a web environment. So there should be a maximum security when you executing the code, right? Still, you can use familiar syntax, which is similar to web frameworks using today, right? You can, if you have used React or some other front-end framework, Django template also similar to that, right? And also this Django template language is the best way of writing code in Django, because it is somewhat Pythonic way of doing that. And most backend developers like this Django template language, because they don't have to learn another language to generate the basic front-end layouts. So it also has built-in support for code blocks and layout inheritance and theming. I will talk about these things when I walk through the code and other designing parts. And you can easily extend or custom the requirement of the template language, and you can add your special code whenever you want, right? The best thing is the Django template language written by developers when they are designing the template language, right? So they have dry in their mind when they develop this language or the template engine. So this template engine is the brain of the Django framework, which render elements in HTML, right? So you may think, actually, I don't get this. Why we need to use template language? We can decouple the system into front-end code and back-end code, and it's a different language for front-end development. But there are some requirements you may get. You may want to develop a prototype of a product, right? In that case, you don't have to learn another language. You can use this template language and start to build your system and easily come up with a working prototype in less time, right? So here I'm showing you the screenshot of the Django admin panel. I think most of you have seen this one. So to generate this front end, I have written only few lines of code. I don't have to specify what is the element this field should render. So these things are actually automatically built by the template language and render for me, right? This is somewhat customizable thing I did for a client. If you use the default admin panel, it will be dull like this, right? But even it is some kind of primary layout, you can customize it. See, here I have added some graph and also interactivity. If you click on these things, it will interactive render charts again, right? When you apply filter, these chart will be automatically updated. Right? This is somewhat different thing where you may want to generate a report for some records. So still I am using the admin panel basic template, but I can easily insert my toolbar here because they have written the template language in the dry way, right? Even you can fully customize the admin panel applying a theme. You don't have to change any code. So that is the beauty of adhering to Drive. You don't have to change everything. You can apply whatever you want and you get the final result, right? So how we can adhere to Drive in designing time? So I have identified 6 steps which are very simple. The first step is you should identify the site structure and understand the site theme or pattern requirements given by the client or the designer, right? This is the very first thing to do. Secondly, what you can do is you go through every page and study the page layout and try to identify similar pages and group them as collections. As a third step, if possible, what you can do is you can organize page layout as a hierarchy of abstractions, right? You can like stacking the design from basic layout to more specific layouts. Fourth step, you can then identify the specific blocks or areas within the page, right? Then you can note down which blocks are changed or unchanged within the page. I think it is better to write down in a paper because sometimes you may have it in your mind, but when you do the final coding, you will forget what are the changing blocks or unchanged things. So when I do the design, normally I write down it in paper and always stick it in somewhere where I can see it all, right? As the last step, you can repeat this process to further break down changing elements or components. Right? So I will give you an example. So here's a design I got from a designer for a client. So if you try to identify the layouts and other stuff, you can see that we have sidebar here in both pages. And if you go to this dashboard page, you can see that we have 3 repeating blocks, summary 1, summary 2, and summary 3. And also here we have stat 1, stat 2, and stat 3. So that's how we can identify what are the areas or blocks which are repeating or changing. So you can see that the chart block is different to other blocks. It is a huge block. These are repeating blocks, and we have like notification and footer, right? But the sidebar is remaining in both pages at the left side. If you go to the list page, here you can further break down what are the breadcrumb area and what are the main buttons, notification area, if it is a list. view, you may have filter like things, and in the main area you have table and also pagination and a footer, right? So now we have identified what are the basic things that should be in the page. Obviously, it is sidebar and the footer, right? The main area is changing depending on the context. So as we identify the areas, now we go to the designing of the code. Let me open my code editor. So this is a basic Django project. Here I am developing a website for a hotel website. It's actually a hotel management portal. So this is my project folder. This is our settings and other stuff. So we have one app called accommodation, right? Here we are writing our models in the models file like this, and views. So if I show the views, you can see that I'm using the built-in views, right? So I only have to specify the what is the model, and if I'm using any form, I only have to specify form and the template name, right? I don't have write any other code. See, all these are very much simple code. Only 3 lines of code I can generate the layout, right? So views are somewhat easy to understand. Even you go through the Django tutorial, you can easily identify how we can adhere to drive. But in templates, you have to think before doing it, right? So since we have the accommodation app, where we are registering our bookings and guests, I need to have a different template, right? Also, if we go through the slides, we can see that the sidebar and the other stuff, footer is here. So these things we define at the project level, not at the app level, right? So what I can do is at the hotel manager is my project folder. In that I create a folder called templates, right? This is the convention. If you don't follow the convention, what you have to specify the whole name path for the template. So it's better you always follow the convention if you do have a specific reason to not to do so. So what I do is I create a template folder, and in that I normally create the base layout, right? This is a simple HTML page. These are actually template tags, right? It is not HTML like, but actually these are also what we call blocks in Django templating language, right? You can even put comments here, right? This static block is required if you linking any static file like CSS files, JavaScript files, and others, and also images, right? You can even customize your title here. What you should do is you type the unchanged thing here. When you have something changing, you can define a block like this. Always name your blocks using a meaningful name. Otherwise, you may know if you name it as ABC, you may know it today, but maybe after 6 months, you don't remember what to put here. And also, if you are trying to hand over your code to some junior developer, he may be in trouble because you haven't used the proper convention for the blocks, right? So I have put comment to explain these things as well. So we have a main site name and a title for each page, right? Then you define what is unchained. If you want to add this semantic CSS for every page, you can just define it here. But sometimes you may want to override style for some pages. So what you can do is you can define a style block here, and in the base page, since you are not defining any specific styles, you can keep the style tag empty. So what we call it here is that default block content, right? So the default content will be empty style tag, right? In other pages, you can override this block, right? Then I have put the sidebar here because I want to reuse the sidebar. You don't write the code for sidebar here because we want to adhere it to drive. We will take out the sidebar into a different file and include it in any page we want, right? So this is that. For that, we use the include tag. Then in the base, we define a section submenu, which is go to across this page. See, maybe you log in another some or maybe context touch page or about us, those things you can put it here, right? Then we have the main section, and if you want to put specific JavaScript in your pages, you can also define a script block. Scripts block here. Here we put the unchanged or static links we want to include in every page, right? So you can see that this is a very simple page, right? You don't have to write too much code here. It is very much clear and comments are also there. So even a junior developer can follow up through your code. If you look at the sidebar, it is just a bunch of links nested within a div element, right? Okay, so I have created the basic layout. Then I go to the specific pages. In the app folder, again, I create a folder called templates. Within that, I again called a folder, create a folder called accommodation because it is my app name, right? So this is the convention. You can read it from the Django documentation as well. It is very easy to understand. The documentation is excellent and very easy to understand. So let's create a one page. Let's say you want to add the booking. Since this is a hotel site, we want to add bookings, right? So I will open the base template as well, so we can see it side by side, right? First thing is we have to include, extend the base template, because why we are extending, why don't we include? Because we want to add things to the base template. Here we are defining the blocks, and in this page, we are going to specify what are the things we included in those blocks. So this will be our very first tag. You can't change the order because it is the way rendering happens. Trust my word on that one, right? Then again, if you want to use some static files, you can use this load static filter or the block. Then here we are replacing what is changing. Here I have mentioned that this is my site name, and I put the page title block here. Here I am specifying what is the page title. Same way of like this, but I put the content here, right? Some people may not name the end block, but I'm using it because I can identify where the block is ending. When you have multiple nested blocks, then you can't find which block ending here, right? So keep a habit to explain what your intention in your code. Then we have this block called section submenu here. section submenu. In this booking page, I have something called a top bar, right? I will show you a final output, then you can understand what is top bar, right? Here you can see that within this block, we are including another block, no problem. We can have blocks within a block. There is no limitation. And now also I have specify a custom style for the booking ad page. Here I am overriding this empty styles block. Right. Then I am moving to the section content. This is my section content specified in the base template, right? So I am going to include a form because to add the booking, I need to render a form. To render the form, I just use another section of code called booking form, right? I don't write any code here, I just include it. If you go to the booking form, you can see this is the very lengthy form, but it is a single unit with own controls, and also you can update the things if you want to add. Let's say you want to add another field, you don't have to change it here. You only have to change it in the booking form subsection only. That is the beauty of using Drive. You don't have to worry about the other places. It will be automatically rendered when you change this one, right? And also I want to reuse this one because adding booking and updating the booking is somewhat similar. So if you take out booking form separately, you can reuse it for adding and updating both, right? Similar to that one, I also create a form for adding the guest. So I put it in the guest form. Here, what I am doing is, let's say you want to update, you want to reuse, update and adding using the same form. When you updating, you have to provide the existing data record, right? So for that one, the template language something called with statement, right? So you can give the variable name and the object name. So these objects are actually passed by the views. If you follow the convention, you don't have to worry about that. You can always think if you write in the booking and the record or the model instance will be named as booking, right? Very simple. Similar to guest, you can use, since this is not rendering from the guest view, I have to bend the rules to get the guest object. But if you want to use a different name, you can do so. And also I define some URL. Don't worry about this one, because we are trying to understand how we can follow the dry rule. Here also in the script tag, I have overridden the JavaScript file as well. So this is our booking ad page. If you go to the booking update page, it is same, but only in few places we have to differentiate some blocks, right? It is almost same, only few lines of codes are changing, right? If you go to guest add, similar to that one, see, guest update and guest add, you can easily identify what is changing, right? If you go to top bar, which I included in the booking add and booking update page, here it is also a bunch of links. So we have developed our site. What will be the final output? Let's go to our presentation and see. So we did the code walkthrough. So this is our final output. Right? In very less number of code lines, you get an elegant and nice structure, which is very flexible. If you want to add any field to somewhere in the booking, say booking detail form or booking ad form, you can do so in the specific section, right? Okay, now to our conclusion. So we can see that dry in Django templates actually need some initial design thinking, but also extra time. But this extra time will save your long hours of debugging and other redesigning of the template again and again, right? You can write whatever way you like, but if you adhere to dry, in the long run, it will be very beneficial. And it adds flexibility to your design and let you reuse the template. You saw that I can reuse booking form and guest form in both add and update things. And also the sidebars, top bars, and all those things. You can place it whatever area you want. Let's say you may want to change the sidebar to right side. No problem. You can define a different block and move the sidebar to right side. Very easy. And also, if you want to change any code, you only have to change it in one place. Then also, you can use template blocks and inherit to any number of levels. There is no restrictions, but normally I don't go beyond 3 levels of inheritance. And finally, it allows you to organize your code in a very structured, logical way. I am highlighting this very much because most of the time, new or junior developers are struggling with the code because they don't understand the code because code is fragmented everywhere. Some code, code is in the view and some code in the template, and some may be in some different files, so they can't follow up easily. But if you adhere into drawing templates, you can see that even a junior developer can understand what's in there. Right. So that's all about the templating. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Okay. Seems like there's no questions for the moment. So maybe like the crowd is fully sure about what they've like learned today. So thank you so much. And it was really interesting speech. And I hope the audience is also grabbed the best out of it as well. So thank you, Ms. Indika. Thank you so much for your time and for the the lessons and the speech as well. So thank you once again. And we'll not be having the other session like the optimizing web performance the afterwards, but simultaneously there are another 2 going as Python match case as well as the automate traffic simulation models with Python. So you all can join that. And after that, at 4 p.m., we'll be having the final keynote. So you all can join for that as well. Thank you, everyone.